Bernie Sanders gave the most perfect response to all of the backlash and criticism that he got for thanking Joe Rogan for his support. We're going to talk about it. So, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little worried. Y'all, because Bernie Sanders came under a lot of harsh and undue criticism because he touted his, Joe Rogan's support for him, saying that he's probably the candidate that he's going to vote for. And the unfortunate truth of the matter is Bernie has had a bad habit of crumbling under pressure when it comes to situations like this. Sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he gets it wrong. When people were criticizing him for the Jank endorsement, well, it was a different situation because he had endorsed Jank, but still it's kind of like the similar situation. It was kind of weird because y'all know I don't like Jank, but like the circumstances that Bernie was going through whenever they made him basically force him to renege on his endorsement was basically for the same reasons, the same circumstances that they used to demand that Bernie take down the tweet, just being appreciative of Joe Rogan's support. It was the same circumstances, same type of rhetoric, the same type of lingo. Granted, I like Joe a lot more, hell of a lot more than I like Jank. That's a different discussion for a different day. But Bernie did not succumb to pressure. In fact, he responded with an official statement, and this is what that statement said. The goal of our campaign is to build a multiracial, multi-generational movement that is large enough to defeat Donald Trump and the powerful special interests whose greed and corruption is the root of the cause of the grassroots inequality in America. Sharing a big tent requires including those who do not share every one of our beliefs, while always making clear that we will never compromise our values. The truth is that by standing together in solidarity, we share the values of love and respect that will move us in the direction of a more humane and more equal world. Bro, that's so easy. I wish you do that more often. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's perfect. It was a perfect response. In other words, damn your purity test. You want to be Donald Trump, we have to build coalitions. We have to build bridges. And also, Joe Rogan is a comedian and a podcaster, not a social justice warrior activist. Like, I go to Joe Rogan to hear political takes from other people. I don't go to Joe Rogan like, man, I don't know how I'm going to make a decision in my life of politics without Joe Rogan's analysis. That's not what we go there for. Like, at all. I don't think anybody said that. But they do go there to hear some of the interesting questions that others are kind of scared to pose to candidates. Now, I mean, there have been a lot of people to attack Bernie, and of course, have actually been attacking and diminishing Joe Rogan as well as they've been attacking Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to go into why I think that they're actually doing it, why the mainstream is beating this drum so loud. But I want to go to a tweet from moveon.org because this was ridiculous. This is just, they're trying too hard and it's obvious, bro. Okay, so Move On said this. It's one thing for Joe Rogan to endorse a candidate. It's another for the Bernie Sanders campaign to produce video bolstering the endorsement, which, by the way, was not an official endorsement. I gotta clarify that because it's being said it was an official endorsement and technically was not. But he did say that he would probably vote for him. But he said it's another thing for the campaign to produce a video bolstering the endorsement of someone known for promoting transphobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, racism, and misogyny. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you believe that the person who tweeted this on behalf of MoveOn.org has actually seen just one segment from Joe Rogan's podcast? Do you think that they've been able to dichotomize when he was going over the top with the joke because he was doing his comedian thing, having a serious conversation, asking others how they feel about these issues. You know, even if we don't disagree with them, he always asks these questions generally across the board. You think they've actually watched one of Joe Rogan's podcasts? I don't think so. But if I'm trying to figure out whose team Joe Rogan is on, I generally go to one clip. And this clip, I got it.
We're in the presence.
I want to play this clip for everybody because you might not have ever seen this clip because it did get lost in the sauce. So we're going to play it real quick.
If you were in the presence of a woman who came over here from Guatemala and she's poor and she's starving and they're taking her baby away and she's wailing and screaming from a primal place in her DNA that the one thing she loves more than anything is being taken away. A baby.
Yeah.
If that doesn't freak you the fuck out, you're not a part of the team, man. You're missing it. You're missing it. What are we here for? We're here for 100 years of whatever. That's what we're here for. If you want to spend 100 years saying, hey, she should have fucking broke the law, I don't want you on the team. You're an asshole. Right? And I don't give a fuck if you're right or left. I don't care if you're religious or I don't care if you're an atheist. If that's what you support, you're an asshole. And we don't want you on our team. Okay? So, but if you agree with certain economic policies that I don't agree with, and we could have a discussion about it, we could figure out why you agree, and we could figure out why people are allowing all of this money to get into politics. Why are we allowing all these special interest groups and lobbyists to interfere with our laws and influence our politicians and create all this shit that we don't want? Well, here's the number one reason. You can't just vote online. You can't just vote. It's not one person, one vote.
Right.
It's the Electoral College, and there's a lot of checks and balances that are in place. That's all wonderful and groovy, but it's not giving the trust to the people.
Right.
The trust to the people that they're informed, that they can make their own decisions, that more people should be able to make these decisions. But they're happening now. That 28-year-old girl who won in New York,
dude.
28-year-old
That's it.
Democratic socialist. Whether I agree with her or not, and I don't know if I do or don't. I bet I agree with her on a lot of things. I think education should be free. I think we should figure out a way. If we could pay for bombs, we could pay for schools. I think this idea that everybody should have health care, it's a great idea. Who the fuck wants people to not be healthy? Who wants people to be hurt and not be able to fix it? Are you really saying that struggling people should have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to get fixed when we could maybe chip in and help members of our team? That's stupid. Fill it out. Figure it out yourself. I had to. You got lucky, bitch. You got lucky you don't have leukemia. You didn't break both your legs when you were 18. Your parents are dead.
Right.
You got lucky, piece of shit. These are people on our view.
You racist, misogynist, fascist piece of shit, you Joe Rogan. How dare you, bro? I mean, you're trying to tell me that Bernie Sanders would appreciate an endorsement from a guy like that? You're telling me, man, look, Joe Rogan is so racist that he literally is excommunicating anybody, left or right, if you're just even in the slightest bit okay with babies being ripped from the arms of immigrants because of their circumstances. Oh God, man, how racist are you, Joe? Being willing to sit down and talk about, and you know, what the point he was making was basically, we can talk about policies all day, but when you're talking about human rights violations, because that's basically what a lot of this stuff is, then there's nothing to discuss. We don't have anything. We're not allies. That's Joe Rogan. The guy who just said he believes public college should be free. The guy that just said that we should not be living in medical debt. That you and I and everyone should be pitching in to make sure that no one has to be sickly. And that you are a pretty disgusting human being if you think that just the world or the country just generally being sick is okay. We got money to pay for bombs. We definitely have money to pay for healthcare. As Joe Rogan just said that. If you want to know the difference between Joe Rogan, the comedian, going over the top, and Joe Rogan, the person, that clip is the one that you show any and everybody. Because that's Joe Rogan, the person. I don't know if Bernie saw that clip. I don't know if he saw it. I don't know if his staff has seen it. but I've seen that clip multiple times. And I can't say it changed my opinion about Joe because I already had a pretty positive opinion about him just as an interviewer, right? I think he's probably the best interviewer on the internet, probably in media, because the way he's just very open-minded and lets his look, even the people that I don't like, his interviewing style allows them to expose themselves. I love it. It's hilarious. I remember he exposed Dave Rubin. He exposed Candace Owens. I appreciated every single. I learned so much about Candace Owens' psyche during that interview that I ended up feeling bad for her by the end of it, to be honest with you. But it just, once again, I showed that clip because I wanted to demonstrate how you can tell that people like the person who tweeted out that tweet from Move On. You've never seen a single one of the Joe Rogan shows. You've never seen a single one of his interviews. You just saw someone tweet that on Twitter yesterday. Oh, he supports and bolsters homophobia and Islamophobia. No, bro. No, that's not true. It's not true. Joe Rogan is one of the coolest human beings out there. I haven't even personally met him, but he's one of the dopest human beings out there. But I will tell you this, though. I will tell you this. I think the media is upset. I think that for the first time, they have fully begun to comprehend the amount of power over the masses that they do not have anymore. What do I mean by that? I've said time and time again here, endorsements don't necessarily mean what they used to 98% of the time. The other 2% is a Joe Rogan endorsement. The other 2% is even a Jimmy Dore endorsement. What do I mean by that? See, when New York Times endorsed Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar, the only thing that was news was that people found it funny that they dual endorsed and that one of those people was Amy Klobuchar. So like it was just a joke. It's like, bro, you're not even like surface level ideologically consistent. Those are two different ideologies that you're endorsing. So what the hell? But nobody cared about their endorsement. In fact, I would even make the argument that people were like progressives, like myself, were very happy that they didn't endorse a Bernie Sanders or a Tulsi Gabbard. Because even in the Yang Gang, I don't think they wanted a New York Times endorsement either, because it's a deep state newspaper. I don't know what to tell you. They don't support progressive policies. They support incrementalism and the military-industrial complex. They made such a big deal about this endorsement. Nobody cared. Sunrise Movement endorsed Bernie, and that was cool. But really, people didn't care about that. To be honest with you. Working Families Party endorsement did not work the way they thought it was going to work, right? Because it's this big entity that endorsed Bernie before and then came out and for some reason inexplicably switched, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, this election conveniently. They got torched. When you're the big organization and you make the endorsement, people are supposed to follow suit, right? That's what we're told. That's what we've been trained to believe. That's not how it works anymore. And they learned that the hard way, because when Bernie Sanders tweets out the support from Joe Rogan, it was trending non-stop, 24 hours. Number 1, number 2, number 3 trending topic, not just on Twitter, but on YouTube, not just on YouTube, but on Facebook. Not just on Facebook, but on Reddit. And it was like a gut punch to the establishment. That's what happened. They realized that ultimately, as far as endorsements or any type of legitimate influence is concerned, their influence overall is dwindling. It's unimportant. You're a meme. Everything y'all do is a fucking meme, bro. Nobody cares. The moment you endorse Amy Klobuchar, people knew once again, try to check in. Is it time to take New York Times seriously again? Nope, just kidding. Sorry, my bad. My mistake. Carry on, everybody. But Joe Rogan is more popular now than the New York Times, with like 3-4 members on his staff. getting more clicks, getting more views. The Joe Rogans of the world. And other independent journalists as well. They can't stand it. And when Bernie essentially promoted Joe Rogan, because that's, you got somebody with like 9 million, 10 million followers with a huge grassroots support, now driving that grassroots support where a lot of those people had not even watched Joe Rogan. Now he's driving them to Joe Rogan's podcast, bolstering him even more, making him even more influential than the mainstream media. So what do? They do guilt by association. Bernie, denounce him. Because it wasn't just attacking Joe Rogan. Yeah, they did it, but it was always in the context of, no, Bernie, denounce him. Do not drive your supporters to Joe Rogan. We don't want to deal with him. That's what it is. That's what it is. So I was so ecstatic when I saw that Bernie put out that statement. I got to give him props because it would have been very easy for him to succumb to the pressure. And lately, that's unfortunately been a pattern for Bernie. This time, he stood up. And I got to give him props for that. It would have been really stupid, by the way, to not do it. So let me just say that. I'm sure there was some mathematical calculus involved, okay? Like, hold on, how many views he get? How many subscribers he got? How many Twitter followers he got? Man, hold up. We might have to, we're going to have to tell them to kiss our ass. We is not rescinding support for that support. They can kiss our whole ass. But he stood tall and said it was about unity and building bridges. Cannot be mad at that. Gotta be, I don't care who you support, Yang, Tulsi, Bernie. Like, this is what we have to do to win as a team, as a unit, as a movement. This type of bridge building is necessary. And when the person with the loudest political microphone embraces with love the person with the loudest independent microphone, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are capable of some great things. Wouldn't you agree? Even when we don't always agree, we can definitely agree on that. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to that live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you get all of our other notifications. But more importantly, more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Of course, if YouTube is giving you trouble, as it always does, you can download the Rockfin app and follow us there. Also, if you want to continue to help our show grow, you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon and donate as little as $1. Really, anything helps. Other than that, always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.